Have you ever felt a strange heaviness on your skin, not just the residue of the day, but something deeper, more elusive? As if the dust of unseen energies has settled upon your face, clouding your mind, your spirit, your very sense of self. There's an ancient practice, humble in appearance, yet shrouded in mystery, that whispers through the corridors of forgotten temples and old wives' tales. A ritual hidden beneath the surface of modern hygiene routines, dismissed as mere superstition, yet echoed in cultures from the banks of the Nile to the high Himalayas. Washing your face with salt and water. Yes, something so simple, yet strangely powerful. What if I told you that this act, when done with conscious intent, has been used for centuries as a spiritual reset, a purification of not only the body but the soul? That within this ritual lies a key to unlocking ancient vibrational codes that align you with clarity, inner strength, and spiritual sovereignty? This isn't about skin care. This is about energy care. This is about washing away what the eyes cannot see, the lingering impressions of envy, fear, and psychic debris that cling to us from daily encounters, old trauma, or ancestral residue. In this video, we will unravel the esoteric origins of this sacred act. We'll journey through forgotten civilizations, secret teachings, and metaphysical truths. You'll learn why salt has been revered as a spiritual purifier across ages, and why water, especially in combination with salt, was never merely liquid, but a living intelligence capable of absorbing, cleansing, and transmitting intention. We'll explore the science hidden behind the symbolism, the rituals that mystics still perform in silence, and the practical ways you can bring this ancient wisdom into your daily life. Not as a trend, but as a sacred remembering. Stay with me, and by the end of this journey, what once seemed like a mundane act may just become your portal to subtle liberation. Now, are you ready to wash away more than just the dirt? Long before modern skincare routines and spa treatments, salt and water held sacred significance in nearly every corner of the ancient world. These were not merely elements to cleanse the body, they were powerful agents of spiritual transformation, deeply embedded in the sacred rites of purification, protection, and renewal. Across deserts and oceans, mountains and temples, we find records of priests, mystics, and healers anointing themselves and others with salted water, not for beauty, but to banish darkness, realign energy, and prepare the vessel for divine communion. In ancient Egypt, salt was considered a protective force, believed to repel malevolent spirits and cleanse the aura. Egyptian priests would bathe in natron, a naturally occurring salt compound, before entering temples, ensuring that not a trace of spiritual impurity would defile the sacred space. Water from the Nile, rich with life and symbolism, was blessed and used to anoint the faithful. This was not just ritual, it was a dialogue with the elements, a sacred act of aligning oneself with the forces of Ma'at, balance, truth, and cosmic order. Travel east to India, and you'll find the same reverence. In Vedic traditions, salt is associated with purification and grounding. Rituals known as Abhishekam often included salted water poured over sacred idols to cleanse them of energetic residue before prayer. It is believed that salt holds the power to absorb negativity and disrupt etheric stagnation, while water is seen as the conduit between the earthly and the divine. The combination is symbolic of body and spirit in unison, releasing what no longer serves and making space for divine insight. Even in early Christianity, holy water, often blessed with salt, was used to ward off evil and cleanse spaces. The Church knew of salt's sanctifying power, often mixing it with water during exorcisms or rites of consecration. This blend was more than a spiritual tool, it was a declaration that what was once unclean would now be made holy. Why, then, has this sacred knowledge been forgotten or hidden? The answer lies in the fragmentation of wisdom. As ancient traditions were absorbed, colonized, or erased, much of their metaphysical depth was lost. Salt became merely a seasoning. Water, just hydration. The spiritual relationship between them, once venerated, was dismissed by the rational mind as superstition, unscientific and irrelevant. But esoteric traditions never truly vanished, they simply went underground, preserved in mystery schools, oral teachings, and whispered prayers of the elders. Philosophically, this ritual speaks to something far deeper than physical cleansing. Salt represents the crystallized wisdom of the earth, knowledge distilled over millennia, potent and grounding. Water, in contrast, is emotion, spirit, memory, the flowing undercurrent of life that connects us all. To wash one's face with salt and water, then, is to anoint the self with clarity and release. It is to acknowledge the unseen burdens we carry, energetic imprints from environments, people, even our own unspoken thoughts, and to consciously dissolve them. It is no coincidence that the face is chosen for this ritual. The face is the mirror of the soul, the first point of contact between the world and our inner being. It holds the tension of unspoken words, the residue of others' projections, the silent cries of the self. To cleanse the face with intention is to reclaim your identity, to declare, "This is who I am, not what I've absorbed." This is the heart of the mystery, that within the simplest acts lie the most profound transformations. The ancients knew this. And though their temples may lie in ruin, their rituals echo still, waiting for us to remember. The alchemy of salt and water is, at its core, a dialogue between solidity and flow, between what remembers and what releases. Imagine a single grain of sea salt crystallizing in some primeval lagoon. The ocean evaporates under an ancient sun, distilling itself into a tiny prism that holds the memory of tides, moon pull, volcanic fire, and the cries of unseen creatures. Now place that crystal back into water, especially water that has been stirred with conscious intent, and you have reunited two lovers who have been apart for epochs. A subtle electrical awakening occurs, ions disband from the lattice, energy is exchanged, and the liquid becomes an active field, ready to take instruction from the mind that guides it. This interaction is not merely poetic, it is bioelectric. Your skin, particularly the delicate skin of the face, carries its own faint charge, a living map of currents that scientists call the skin battery. Stress, exhaustion, and emotional turbulence scramble this subtle circuitry the way static distorts a radio signal, producing that heaviness you sometimes feel but cannot name. Salted water, rich in free-roaming sodium and chloride ions, momentarily bridges microcurrents on the skin, encouraging them back toward equilibrium. Ancient healers may not have spoken of ions or voltages, yet they sensed the same phenomenon. They called it prana, chi, or the vigor of the waters. In mystery schools from Alexandria to Cusco, novices were taught to anoint the brow and cheeks before meditation so that thought might pass through them like clear light through crystal. But there is a subtler layer still, one woven through symbol and psyche. In Hermetic teaching, salt is Saturnian, restructuring, boundary-making, crystallizing intent into form. Water is lunar, receptive, reflective, endlessly mutable. Bring them together upon the human visage and you enact a miniature cosmic dance, Saturn giving structure to the mutable moon, the moon softening Saturn's austerity. In practical terms, the ritual invites you to set firm boundaries, Saturn, while remaining emotionally fluid, Moon. Each time the brine touches your skin, you are whispering to your unconscious, I permit clarity, I release distortion. Do this night after night, and the psyche begins to believe you. Consider, too, the geometry of the act itself. The fingers trace spirals across the forehead, temples, and jawline, following the same logarithmic curves found in nautilus shells and galaxies. Our ancestors did not choose these strokes by accident. Esoteric scrolls recovered from Qumran describe circles of purification, drawn with salted water to untangle threads of spiritual entanglement. Medieval grimoires echo the method, always clockwise to summon light, counterclockwise to dismiss shadows. Modern neuroscience now notes that circular, rhythmic self-touch activates the vagus nerve, shifting the body from fight or flight into rest and repair. Thus, a movement once coded as occult reveals itself as neurosomatic wisdom in disguise. And yet, for all this precision, mystery lingers. Why do some practitioners report visions, heightened dreams, or sudden emotional catharsis after only a week of nightly brine ablutions? Why do others feel nothing at all until a pivotal moment when the ritual ignites and the face seems to glow from within? Texts from the Sufi poet Jami speak of the salt that awakens the moon inside the forehead, suggesting that certain thresholds of sincerity, and perhaps destiny, must be crossed before the deeper gates open. The ritual, then, is both key and test. It will unlock only as much as you are willing or ready to see. This brings us to an enticing paradox. Salt can desiccate, water can erode, yet together they can heal. They strip away illusions while nourishing hidden seeds. To wash with salt and water is to invite controlled dissolution, the purposeful melting of psychic plaque, so that a truer self may surface. But what, precisely, are we dissolving? And what waits beneath the mask we have worn for so long? Hold that question gently, for in the next part we will venture even deeper, into the hidden chambers of folklore and fringe science, where brine is said to bend probability, where sea priests whisper over copper basins, and where a single drop of salted dew is believed to carry the blueprint of human awakening. Prepare yourself, the surface has only just begun to ripple. Now that the surface has begun to ripple, let us plunge deeper into the ancient well where the true mystery lies, not in the elements themselves, but in their language. Water and salt are not merely materials, they are carriers of memory. This idea, once ridiculed, now finds subtle echoes even in modern research. The work of scientists like Jacques Benvenisti and Masaru Emoto, though controversial, opens a tantalizing doorway, that water holds the energetic imprint of intent, of vibration, of emotion. Emoto's experiments with frozen water crystals revealed how water responded differently to words like love or hate, forming symmetrical, stunning patterns in the former, and chaotic, broken ones in the latter. While the scientific establishment dismissed his work, mystics quietly nodded. They had known this for millennia. What Emoto sought to prove with microscopes, ancient sages expressed through ritual. Salt, in this equation, acts not just as a cleanser but as an amplifier. It stabilizes. It grounds. It crystallizes intention. In mystical traditions, especially in Kabbalistic and Gnostic circles, salt was not merely a seasoning but a seal, a divine sigil of purification that protected the soul from lower astral influences. There are old Hebrew incantations where salt is invoked not for taste, but for truth. In ceremonial magic, salt circles are drawn not only for protection but to delineate sacred space, an invisible temple where only truth may enter. Combine that with water, the ultimate receptor, and you create a potion that becomes more than the sum of its parts, a vibrational vessel carrying your will into the unseen realms. Consider the folklore. In Romani traditions, a bowl of salted water was placed near the sleeping child's head to ward off spiritual parasites. In parts of coastal West Africa, women would wash their faces with ocean brine before ritual dancing, believing it opened the eye behind the eye, what many would call the third eye. In Chinese Taoist texts, there are references to moon salt, a preparation of salt left under moonlight and then added to spring water for spiritual cleansing. These are not random cultural quirks. They are echoes, scattered pieces of a forgotten global puzzle. And the face, why always the face? Because the face is your energetic signature. It's where your identity collects, where your stories live. The eyes are not just windows to the soul, they are projectors and receivers of information, constantly interacting with the world on subtle levels. The forehead, especially the space between the brows, is where the ancients believed the soul communicated with the divine. In Ayurveda, this is the Ajna chakra, the command center, the bridge between inner vision and outer reality. By cleansing the face, especially the brow and eyes, with salt and water, you are symbolically and energetically recalibrating your perception, washing not just your skin, but your lens. Yet with every ritual, there come warnings. Not all salt is equal. Not all water is living. Commercial table salt, stripped of its natural minerals and infused with anti-caking agents, carries little spiritual potency. Mystics prefer sea salt, Himalayan salt, or salt extracted from ancient earth, salt that still remembers the earth's primeval songs. The water, too, must be respected. Tap water, fluoridated and treated, may need recharging through exposure to sunlight or moonlight, or through the placement of quartz crystals. Intent is key. This ritual is not a chemical reaction, it is an energetic one. You must approach it with reverence, not as a task to complete, but as a communion to enter. And here's where the mystery grows even deeper. Some esoteric schools teach that salted water, when combined with breath and spoken word, becomes a medium for manifestation. Not just cleansing, but creation. When you dip your fingers into the brine and trace it upon your face while speaking a sacred affirmation, I release what is not mine, I call back what I have lost, I am clear, I am whole, you are engaging in a micro-ceremony of reality weaving. You are imprinting intention onto the liquid, and allowing your skin, your vessel, to absorb that frequency. This is no longer just about cleansing negativity. It becomes a gateway, a threshold ritual, that prepares you for deeper spiritual work, dream journeying, intuitive insight, heart opening. It is a form of alignment, like tuning an ancient instrument so it can sing again in perfect resonance with the divine. The act becomes an invocation. Now ask yourself, what has your face absorbed? What hidden weights have settled into your brow, your cheeks, your jaw? What expressions have you worn so long that they've hardened into masks? The salt will find them. the water will loosen them. The ritual will invite them to fall away, softly, reverently, like dust shaken from old curtains to let the light in. Rituals only become real when they are lived, not just learned. Now that you've journeyed through the deeper meanings behind salt and water, it's time to embody this ancient wisdom. This is not a routine. It's a sacred act, a moment where the mundane transforms into the mystical. To wash your face with salt and water consciously is to stand at the edge of forgetting and remembering, and choose remembrance. Begin at twilight or dawn. These liminal hours, when night becomes day or day becomes night, are windows between worlds. They soften the boundaries of reality and heighten the potency of ritual. Choose a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. A simple bowl will do, but choose one that feels special: glass, ceramic, or copper. Let it become your vessel of transformation. Fill the bowl with clean, preferably filtered or spring water. If you can gather rainwater, snowmelt, or stream water, even better. These carry the wild intelligence of the earth, unprocessed and potent. Then, add a pinch or two of sea salt, Himalayan salt, or unrefined earth salt. Stir slowly with your fingers in a clockwise motion while breathing gently and evenly. As the salt dissolves, whisper an intention into the water. Let it be simple, but charged: cleanse me of what does not belong, or I return to my center. Now cup the water in your palms and bring it to your face. Close your eyes. Let the first touch be soft, reverent, like a priestess anointing herself before entering the temple. Begin with the forehead, the seat of your insight and intuition. Gently rub the water across the brow, the temples, the space between the eyes. Move to the cheeks, the jaw, the chin, each place where emotion lingers. As your fingers move, imagine washing away not just the day's dirt, but the invisible weight of thoughts, projections, anxieties, and memories. Let the salt draw them out like iron filings pulled by a magnet. Breathe deeply. With every exhale, release. With every touch, return to yourself. You may wish to speak affirmations aloud during the process. Words carry vibration. Use phrases like, "I call my energy back to me," or "I release all that is not mine." Speak them slowly. Let them imprint into the water, into your hands, into your skin. If you feel emotional during the process, tears, sudden sighs, a flutter in the chest, let it move through you. This is not just hygiene. This is healing. Afterward, let your skin air dry if possible. Don't rush to wipe it away. Let the salt remain as a subtle shield, a crystalline grid anchoring your intent. Light a candle if you wish. Sit in silence for a few minutes. This pause is where the integration happens, where the energy settles, where the soul takes root again. Make this ritual your own. You might add a drop of essential oil, lavender for peace, frankincense for spiritual clarity. You may chant softly, hum, or play sacred music. What matters is not perfection, but presence. Over time, you may begin to notice subtle shifts. Dreams become clearer. Thoughts more focused. You walk through the world with less emotional residue, more clarity, more you. People may even comment that you seem lighter, brighter, without knowing why. But be mindful. With any spiritual practice, consistency is key. Try this ritual daily for a week, then a month. Watch how it changes your state of being. Observe what arises, what patterns fall away, what new insights take their place. And if resistance comes, honor it. Some days the act may feel empty. That's okay. Ritual isn't about performance. It's about relationship, with yourself, with the unseen, with the sacred layers of life we've been taught to overlook. One final note, this practice is not a cure-all. It's not meant to replace deeper healing work or spiritual exploration. But it is a doorway. A subtle, sacred opening. A way to reclaim the forgotten intelligence of your own body and spirit. To say with quiet power, I am not a sponge for the world's chaos. I am a sovereign being, and I choose clarity. Now, are you ready to step into the mirror with new eyes? What began as a simple act, washing the face with salt and water, has now unfolded before you as an ancient ritual, rich with layers of meaning, memory, and mysticism. And perhaps, more importantly, it has become a mirror. A mirror not only for the reflection you see but for the unseen parts of yourself that long to be cleansed, reclaimed, and remembered. We often go about our lives absorbing everything, thoughts that are not ours, emotions that do not belong to us, subtle impressions that cling to our skin like smoke. Over time, they cloud our inner vision, dull our intuition, and weigh down the soul with stories we were never meant to carry. But the ancients knew, the face is more than appearance. It is the gate of presence, the mask of spirit. And when we learn to wash it with reverence, we are not just refreshing the surface, we are revealing what lies beneath the dust of daily forgetting. Salt and water, two of the most primal elements, are not merely substances. They are messengers. One crystallized from the bones of the earth, the other flowing with the memory of creation itself. When brought together with conscious intent, they form a bridge. A gentle yet powerful tool that reminds you of your own sovereignty, your energetic boundaries, your right to clarity and wholeness. So as you step away from this video, don't simply carry information, carry presence. Let the bowl you use become your chalice. Let each drop of brine become a blessing. Make space in your day for that quiet return to center. And if ever the world feels too loud, too heavy, too unclear, go back to the water. It will remember you. And now I ask you, when was the last time you looked in the mirror and truly saw yourself, not as the world sees you, but as the sacred soul beneath the skin? Let this ritual be your answer. If this journey has stirred something within you, let it ripple outward. Share your experiences, your questions, your awakenings. And if you wish to go deeper into the mysteries, into the forgotten rituals, hidden symbols, and practical spirituality that reconnects us to the soul, subscribe, stay close, and walk with us. The path is ancient. But it begins now. With water. With salt. With you.